Day, dear students. Today we are going to discuss about pedagogics as a science. We will to discuss three questions. The first is beginnings of European education. The second, pedagogics as a science. And the third, the basic categories of pedagogics. Pedagogy is a science about specially organized, goal-oriented and systematic forming of a human being, the science of the content, forms and methods of upbringing, education and instruction. Meaning of the word. The word comes from the ancient Greek word literally meaning to lead the child. In ancient Greece, pedagogos was usually a slave who supervised the education of his master's son. Girls were not publicly educated. This involved taking him to school or a gym, looking after him and carrying his equipment. Development of ancient pedagogics. Aristotle was a Greek philosopher and polymath, a student of Plato and teacher of Alexander the Great. He is one of the most important founding figures in the Western philosophy. And Alexander III of Macedon the Great was a Greek ruler of Macedon tutored by Aristotle until the age of 16. By the age of 30, he had created one of the largest empires of the ancient world, stretching from the Ionian Sea to the Himalayas. Medieval European education. In medieval Western Europe, education was typically a charge of the church, the monastic schools and universities were the chief centers, and virtually all students took orders. Lay education consisted of apprentice training for a small group of the common people or education in the sages of chivalry for the more privileged. With the Renaissance, education of boys and some girls in classics and mathematics became widespread. After the Reformation, both Protestant and Roman Catholic groups began to offer formal education to more people, and there was a great increase in the number of private and public schools. Also, the norm remained the classical mathematical curriculum. Pedagogy, as an independent experimental field of study, began at the beginning of the 17th century when Francis Bacon proposed a new classification of sciences. This classification included pedagogy as guidance for reading. John Amos Commoners. After Bacon's theories, John Amos Commoners, Czech scientist, wrote his work The Great Didactic, where he first proposed a system of common learning, including mother school to the age of 6 years old, elementary school 6 to 12, gymnasia 12, 18, and academia 18, 24. There are four basic categories of pedagogics. They are personality formation, education, instruction, upbringing. Personality formation is a process of shaping an individual by means of goal-oriented influence, upbringing in the true sense of the word, and of the varied and often contradictory influences of the environment. Two types of personality formation. They are goal-oriented influence, information formation, and varied and often contradictory influences, functional formation. Upbringing. Upbringing is a purposeful, systematic shaping of a personality in preparation for active participation in public, productive, and cultural life. In this sense, upbringing takes place as a process of organized, joint activity of the family and school, preschool, and extracurricular institutions, children's and youth organizations, and society as a whole. Education is the process and result of the acquisition of systematized knowledge and skills. Associated with education are the transfer from one generation to the next of knowledge of all of mankind's cultural riches, the mastery of socio-historical knowledge as reflected in the natural sciences, social sciences, technology, and art, and the acquisition of work habits and skills. Education is essential to preparing for life and work. It's a basic means by which people come to know and acquire culture, and it is the foundation of culture